What is up, guys? Before we get into the main topic of this video, I just want to say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope both from a personal point and also for your Amazon business, you absolutely killed it in 2018 and that you will kill it even more so in 2019. Let's make this the best year for your Amazon business by starting with something that is fundamental and important, and that is social media, or more specifically Instagram. And that is the topic of this video, is how to grow and leverage an Instagram account for your Amazon business. I'm going to take you through the 3-step process I followed to grow an Instagram account. I'm going to take you through some tactics that you can use to get massive growth to start with without buying fake followers or any of that crap. You want legitimate followers and a legitimate audience that have an interest in your account and your posts. And finally, I'm going to finish up this video with how you can leverage those followers and those people that are interested in your brand to get more sales, to get more traffic, and really to build an asset for your business that will repay you for years to come. Fundamentally, it's something free that you can start building today that will repay you incrementally over years to come and can eventually grow into something massive. So before I get into the video, I just want to show you a bit of my Instagram. I'll give you a bit of a background on my Instagram account. So this is my Instagram account for a new brand that I released the first product for in August. I started the Instagram account in June, and as of 6:30 on January the 7th, Monday the January the 7th, sorry, my head's still back in 2018, I have 9,207 followers, of which 1,573 came around in the last week alone. So I'm expecting huge growth this year for my Instagram account and therefore for my Amazon business. So I'll just show you those numbers now. Hopefully you can see that. And then some other interesting stats that I can show you on my account are activity. So that is kind of how people interact with my account. So I've had 7,700 actions taken on my account in the last week, and that is basically the amount of likes, shares and comments that I've got. I've had 7,331 profile visits. I've had 409 website clicks, which is actually down 525. So almost 1,000 website clicks I had last week because I was running a bit of a promotion, which is super powerful. Can you imagine getting 1,000 people every week for free, basically free traffic to whatever you wanted, to a landing page, to your website, to a blog post, straight to your Amazon listing, to a 2-step storefront URL. That's super powerful. So I'll show you those numbers real quick. So hopefully you can see those numbers. Down the bottom, I've got my discovery, which is basically how many people see my posts. And that is 100,000 uniques in the last week, which is insane. Can you imagine how much you'd have to pay in advertising to get impressions on 100,000 people? So that's that. So without further ado, I'll get into the tactics and strategies that I use to grow this Instagram account and how I'm using it on a daily basis to provide free traffic and free sales for my business. The power of social media. What is the point in starting a social media account? Well, there's three primary reasons that you'd want to start and grow a social media channel or channels for your business. The first thing is social proof, and as Amazon sellers, you'll know how important social proof is, because the products with the most reviews are the products that sell the best. So this same principle applied to your social media accounts. Customers or potential customers that go to your social media account and see you have tons of followers, tons of engagement on your posts, are more likely to be future customers of yours. Secondly is sales. Having a loyal social media following is effectively sales on demand, and that is why influencer marketing is such a huge marketing channel at the moment. And that's because companies and people alike know the power of having a large following and how much money it can mean in reality. And the third one, and the most important to me, is relationships. Building relationships with your customers and your audience so that they can get to know you, like you, and most importantly, trust you. These relationships are the ones that will form your most strong bonds between you and loyal customers that effectively will go on to repay you for many months to come. Why Instagram? So to paraphrase a Gary Vee quote that I'm sure I heard at one point, he basically said everyone's on Instagram. So that's why you should be leveraging it. Everyone's on that platform. The reason I chose Instagram is because it was a social media platform that I was already familiar with, which is really important when you're trying to grow social media. You want to understand the mechanics of how you grow an account. And I already understood that from being a strong user of Instagram for my own personal life and my own personal account. So it's easy to learn how to grow an account on Instagram. There's a few fundamental steps that you need to take, and if you do those, then you will get a good following on Instagram. And part two to that is, like I said, it's easy to grow. It's one of those things where you won't see too much movement on your account, but then suddenly you'll get this huge uptick and you'll get a kind of exponential curve or an S-curve shape in your following where things will start to pick up. And like I said, over the last week, I've had 1,500 followers. If I continue on this trend, by this time next year, I'm going to have a massive account, with like 50,000+ followers, maybe even more. And think about how powerful that could be for your business. Also, you can make your feed shoppable. And this works really well if you have a Shopify website, and you probably should have a Shopify website or start building one at some point for your Amazon business or a WooCommerce website. Basically, I'm not sure if you're aware, but on Instagram you can make the feed shoppable. You can make it so that someone can click the feed and it takes them straight away to the product page, and that's really powerful because it's seamless. The less steps there are between the customer seeing the product and getting to the checkout, the better. If they see the product that they like the look of, and then they have to Google it, and then they have to click a link, a few more links, the more clicks there are, the less chance they will buy that product. So if you can make the process super seamless for the customer, it will repay you. And finally, as I'm sure you're all aware, Instagram and Facebook run on the same platform, and that's really powerful because you can have a Facebook and an Instagram account that are linked together, and you can repost posts from your Instagram to your Facebook account really seamlessly. And also all three of them are integrated with the Facebook ads platform, which if you're not using for your Amazon business, you should be. There's lots of ways you can use Facebook ads other than the obvious driving sales. Amazon love to see external traffic, so buying Facebook ads to sell your product is really worthwhile pursuit, and I will definitely be doing a video on this in the future. So let's get into the actual 3-step strategy that I've used and you can use too to grow your Instagram account. So the 3-step strategy is the 3 C's. And I've made it the 3 C's so it's easy to remember, but fundamentally it is content, consistency, and crowd. And I'll explain what these are in further slides, but if you can remember these 3 fundamental steps, you won't have any problem growing your Instagram account. It might be slow as first, but if you follow these 3 steps, I can guarantee you will be able to grow an Instagram account to the same size as mine, or maybe even bigger, because I haven't spent that much time on growing my Instagram account. Currently, I spend about 5 or 10 minutes a day doing posts on my Instagram account, and it's getting huge engagement. So, firstly, is content. How do you find content to post on your Instagram account? Ideally, you want a lot of the posts on your Instagram to be your product and your product in use. But that isn't always necessarily what people want to see to start with. So, it's good to utilize a lot of other content, and the sources for other content can be sites like Unsplash and Canva. And I'll just take you over to those sites now in case you're unfamiliar with them. So how Unsplash works is basically it's a royalty-free image website. And what that means is that you can post pictures from this website without paying royalties or infringing on other people's intellectual property, which is super important because first, it's a snide thing to do, and it happens to photographers all the time. Their pictures get stolen without permission, so you want to avoid that. And secondly, it's a legality issue. You can't go around stealing people's intellectual property. So Unsplash is a great place to start if you want to find pictures of your brand. And I'll use an example consistently throughout this tutorial. So the example I'll use is, say you want to start a fitness brand. So it's as simple as type in whatever your main keywords are or related keywords are in, and you get tons of high quality images. These pictures are fantastic, and these are the kind of pictures that people pay a lot of money for. So that's a great place to start with your looking for content. The other website I mentioned is Canva. The other website I mentioned is Canva. And Canva is like a free Photoshop Lite. It doesn't have all the capabilities that Photoshop has. It's kind of basic, but it does a great job of producing Instagram friendly content. So you hop on Canva, it's free, and you can make, Instagram content really quickly and edit pictures and add captions to pictures, etc. And it's a great tool to produce quotes, and quotes are a really strong form of content that does really well on Instagram. I started initially growing my page with mostly quotes, and then I switched to different kinds of content because it was quite labor intensive. So all you need to do is jump on Canva and find templates that you like the look of, and then you can edit them as you please. You can add different content, you can add shapes and colors and whatever else you want to, and upload your own pictures. But it's great because it's a free tool, and it's an easy way to churn out loads of good, decent content that people like. Of course, there's also generating your own content, and ideally you should get to an inflection point with your Instagram account where the majority of your posts are your own content, your own brand's content featuring your products, because this is really where you grow your brand's identity and your brand's following. If you're getting thousands of likes and tons of comments on pictures of your product in use, happy people using your product, or pets, or whatever your product niche is. So say it was fitness, you could get a picture of a fitness influencer or someone in the gym holding a water bottle, using your wrist wraps, whatever. Also, there is of course following big accounts in your niche, and this is really useful for content because not only will you get an idea of what content's popular, and you'd be really surprised. When I was growing my account, I was initially posting pictures of a certain type until I realized that really wasn't what people were interested in. And fundamentally, that's what you want to do. You don't want to try and mold the market around what your opinion is. You want to try and fit to the market. So if you're posting, for example, pictures of people in the gym and they're not getting that much likes, but you find out that workout videos are, switch to posting workout videos. And there is of course reposting other people's content. This is how I make the majority of my posts now, and my account is at that size where people like to get reposted by my account. So I encourage people to tag me in their pictures of my product in use, my products in use, and I'll repost them, and other pictures that fit my niche. And it's a really quick way to generate content that gets tons of engagement. People aren't bothered that it's other people's posts. People still follow your account, and there's huge accounts on Instagram that are entirely made up of reposts. In fact, I'd say the vast majority are. So I'd definitely look into reposting as a way to kind of bulk out the majority of your content, because you do need to post a lot of content, especially up front, to get the ball rolling. And then finally, there's reposting cross-platform, and this is also something that I use quite a lot of because my new brand is quite a visual brand. It's quite a visual niche. Pinterest is a great site for my brand, and that is the next social media platform that I'll be growing, and I'll be showing you how to do that next once I've grown an account on that platform. But what I do currently is I search up on Pinterest of posts that I might think are relevant to my niche, and posts that I think that my customers and audience will like, and I repost them on Instagram, and making sure that I give credit to the original poster on Pinterest. And that's something important that you must make sure you do if you're reposting content, is always credit other people. It's not a good look to be stealing other people's pictures on Instagram, as I've mentioned before. So that's content, which I put first because it's the most fundamental part of growing your Instagram account. If your content's crap, you can't expect to grow it at all. And my results are by no means the best, but I've done it organically and I've done it slowly over time, and I'm getting really good engagement on my posts now, and that's because I've always posted strong content. So secondly, there is consistency, and to make it simple, the more you post, the better, but I'd say at minimum, post twice a daily, every single day. The more you post, the more engagement you'll get. The more engagement you get, the more followers you get, and it goes around in a cycle, and this is really how your account starts to grow exponentially. But not only should you stay consistent in terms of posting and the amount you post, and that is the most important part of staying consistent, but you should also keep your feed consistent. You want a nice looking feed. You want it to relate to your brand and your brand image. This will help you build your brand out and your brand image, which is super important, especially now that it's really hard to differentiate yourself on platforms like Amazon. You want to make sure you've got strong branding, a strong brand identity, and it's fundamental that you make sure that your feed and pictures are all related to ensure you get the most out of your branding possible. And an easy way you can do that is by posting the pictures with the same filter, so keep your filter consistent throughout your posts. But a quick caveat to that is to make sure that your pictures aren't over filtered, just because that looks crap. So don't use filters to their full intensity, but make sure you use the same filters consistently throughout your feed, and it'll make your feed look much more consistent. There's a great app you can use to get really good filters, because Instagram's integrated filters aren't the best, and that is VSCO cam. Post at the same times. This is really self-explanatory, but as you start to grow your account, you'll get under the Insights tab, you'll get to see when your audience are online, and you should post around those times. Make sure you post 15 minutes before those peak times, and you'll normally get several throughout the day. So I think mine are like typically midday and 9 p.m. or something like that. So I'll make sure I post once at lunchtime and then once in the evening. And finally, keep your posts relevant and interesting. Don't swap between loads of different posts, going from educational to funny, memes, back and forth all over the place. You want your account to be as specific as possible. There's a saying that the riches are in the niches, or niches is how normal people pronounce it, which is very true. So if you can niche your account down and make all the posts super consistent, so say again we're talking about fitness, your account could be for vegan female powerlifters, and that's a really specific niche, and you could make all your posts around that, and you'd appeal to a small group of people to start with, and then you can start to expand out. Finally is crowd, and crowd is another word for audience, but I just wanted to make it fit with the 3 C's. I just think it sounds a bit more catchy. But basically all this comes down to is fundamentally just to interact with people on Instagram, and that's to make sure you respond to people's comments and like every single comment that you get on your pictures, respond to questions, make sure you send some direct messages out and collaborate with other pages. This is really important. Collaborations between other pages can help grow your account really significantly. And finally, develop relationships with your customers. I spoke before about just how important relationships are. So make sure you go out of your way to comment on other people's pictures, follow your customers, say thank you to your customers over social media. Just talk to people and just develop relationships. You have no idea where these relationships will go, so it's an important thing to do. With all that being said, if you started your account today using those 3 steps alone, you would probably have quite a difficult time growing your account from day dot. It would happen eventually, but there's a few tactics that you can use to get that initial momentum. You don't need to use these forever, and some of them could be quite time intensive. So just use it to start with, and then you can start to taper it off as your account grows organically by itself, which is the stage I'm at now. I'm not using any of these anymore, apart from a select few here and there. So firstly, you can use tools like followliker, autogramtags, and Telegram. I'll take you through these tools quickly. So the first tool is followliker, and followliker is, as the name implies, a bot that will do following and liking for you, and unfollowing and unliking for that matter. And you might have heard of the follow-unfollow tactic that people have used. It's kind of gone out of favor in recent times, and it's not the best way to grow an account, but it certainly can help you to start with getting that initial growth. And I did use it for the first couple of months on my account, and now I don't use it at all. So I'll show you quickly how you set up this bot. So once you've downloaded the tool, you put your account details in, and then you right click on your account, and then you double click on your account, and then I'll take you through the optimal settings that you can use. So scrape user is basically just getting user information, so you always want that ticked. And then you should just choose the parameters that you want to use your bot for, but it's best to be used just as a follow and unfollowing bot. I don't think it works very well to write comments on people's accounts, and that's what a lot of people use it for, but it comes off as really spammy when you see the same accounts being posted over and over again. So you want to select scrape user, unfollow, follow. You want to select shuffle tasks, and what this will do is it will follow and then unfollow and not do it at the same time, and I'll tell you why this is important in a minute. Then you want to tick show advanced options, click next, and this is basically where you enter Instagram pages that are related to your Instagram page, and the bot will use the people that follow that page, the people that comment on that page and like their pictures, and it'll follow them and then unfollow them if they don't follow you back. So all you do is you press new, query is where you put the account name. So let's use the fitness page example again, and say you're in the vegan powerlifting niche. So say you want to follow people who follow the page vegan powerlifter. So then you'd go there and you'd enter the query and then the user's follower. And I recommend you do this for maybe 5 to 10 accounts, and all these can be left as default. Then on the next page, this is where you enter the parameters of how many people you want to follow on a daily limit. You don't want to set this too high because Instagram will basically throttle your account, and once it's been throttled a certain amount of times, there's no coming back and that account's dead. So I'd set these numbers as pretty much default. Maybe you can bump that up to about 500. And this is the bit I would change. I would delay the follow by maybe to about a minute, and then you can leave everything else as default. And then this is where you choose to unfollow the users. And I would again leave this as default, again bump this up to about a minute. And with this selected, that means that you won't unfollow people that follow you, basically because it's rude, you know, and that's not what it's about. It's about building relationships. So if you're starting a new account and someone's gone out their way to follow you, then follow them back, it's fine. And then finally, this is where you can finish up by selecting the times and dates that you want to do this. And I just leave it running 24/7. I'll just cancel this for now. You can also run this through a VPN if you're worried about, you know, this affecting your account or your ISP or anything else, because it is, you know, slightly grey hat behavior. So that's the first tool. The second tool is a free tool called autogramtags. And this is something that I still use on a daily basis. And autogramtags basically generates hashtag clouds from seed hashtags. And this is super useful and super important because finding hashtags manually is super labor intensive and takes a long time. And using this format, you can get a ton of related hashtags really quickly. So let's again use the example of vegan powerlifting. You could start with the initial seed tags, vegan and powerlifting, and then you press go and you get 30 related hashtags, and all you need to do is copy and paste those, put them in the first comment after your pictures. It's interesting people's mindset when it comes to hashtags. I've heard people again just say that hashtags are useless and pointless, but my account really says otherwise. The vast majority of my likes and engagement come from people finding me through hashtags. I think the reason people have problems with hashtags is that you don't get exposed on those hashtags immediately. You get a kind of ranking juice in the same way that many of these search algorithms work. You won't initially be exposed on that hashtag at all until your posts start getting lots of engagement, and then you'll start to rank for those hashtags and you'll stay there for a long time, and those posts will get tons of engagement, and that's how the kind of virality of it works. And eventually some of those posts will end up on the explore page. That's really where the top posts of Instagram get most of their engagement, and that is the kind of end goal. But to slowly work your way up from having not very many followers and not very much engagement, through new people finding you through hashtags and other pages, and then eventually ending up on the explore page. That's how people build these massive accounts. Just another quick thing to mention about hashtags: you want to make sure you're using a variety and not just using the same hashtags over and over again, because as you can imagine, some people will just look at the same hashtags, and you'll be exposing yourself to that same audience over and over again. You want to reach many new people and get new followers. So to do that, you want to switch up your hashtags, and I do this pretty much every post. I have different hashtags in there depending on what the post is depicting. So finally, the other tool you can use that is 100% free is Telegram, and Telegram is basically a instant messaging service, but it's kind of now used mainly for, or I think one of the main reasons a lot of people use it is for what is known as engagement groups. And you might have heard about these before in a kind of format that's on Instagram itself. We have lots of related pages all in a group together in a DM. Basically, you'll post up your picture, they'll all like and comment on your picture, and you'll do it on theirs in return. This is a much more seamless version of that, where basically there's no kind of guessing game of whether people will or will not engage on your posts. They have to, because it's the rules in every group, and if they don't do it, they'll get banned by a bot. A bot goes through and makes sure that all the engagements happened on every single post. So you have to follow the rules with these, but I'll explain how they work in a kind of simplistic view by choosing one of the groups. When you join a group on Telegram, an engagement group, you want to make sure that firstly you read the rules and you stick to them. Typically that you only get 3 chances in which you might miss a post or any engagement that you do before you get banned, and typically you won't get let back into the group. So for this group, it's a DX5, which means you need to engage on the last 5 people's posts, and L and C just means like and comment. So for this to work, all I'd do simply is open up the last 5 posts in the group, like and comment their pictures. Then I'd write my message and send it in the same format as these other messages here. So dx5 at, and then the account that you did the engagement with, and that can be a different account from the one you want to grow. So you can use your own personal account if you want to deliver engagement, or you can use your brand's account and then simply post the account. And this is a good way to get that initial bit of engagement on your posts, which is what Instagram likes to see. It likes to see engagement on posts, and it will start to expose those posts to other accounts. So to start with, you can go hell for leather in these groups and just post in loads of them and get loads of this engagement from other users to slowly start to boost your posts. But this is really labor intensive, and it's unsustainable to do it all the time, but certainly for the first few weeks you can make use of these groups. I don't use them at all now, but I did use them for a few months in those initial stages when I was trying to grow my Instagram account. So that's something definitely to check out. So I've covered the free tools that you can use: followliker, autogramtags, and Telegram. You don't have to use all three of these, but certainly I'd say Telegram is essential on autogramtags. Followliker isn't that necessary, and personally I probably wouldn't use it if I was growing an account again. Secondly, you can use competitions to encourage engagement and follows. And these are super easy to set up, and again, this is something you should definitely do because it encourages you to build a relationship with other pages in your niche and collaborate, and it's all about collaboration. You shouldn't view other pages in your niche as competition, but you should collaborate with them, because the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. In this case, you'll get a lot more out of your Instagram account if you choose to engage with other accounts of a similar size by running competitions. And the easiest and most frequently run kind of competition that I see is basically where people have to like and comment on the post, typically tag a friend to win whatever, and you can do that in collaboration with another brand, such that they have to like the post on your page, they have to follow their account and follow your account to be in a chance for winning. It's a good way to get some quick followers for your account. And finally, is to utilize influencers and collaborate. And I could talk about influencers for a long time, and that could be a topic for a different video, and I will make it a topic for a different video because I feel fairly experienced with using influencers now, and you can get really mixed results. Some influencers are just not worth dealing with at all, and some influencers are fantastic, and sometimes it can be a struggle to find out which is which. So I'll definitely be making a video on that in the future. Okay, so I've covered the 3 C's of how you can grow your Instagram account. I've covered some tactics you can use to get your Instagram account off the ground. And finally, I'm going to talk about what to do with that followers once you've got them, how you can leverage them. So as I demonstrated on my Instagram account last week, I had 1,000 unique hits from my website, and that was totally for free, just as a result of building my social media following. And can you imagine how powerful that could be? 1,000 unique hits on your website. If you're trying to sell a product, and say it's a product on Amazon, which typically convert at 10%, that's 100 free sales you wouldn't have got if you didn't have that engagement. Or you could have 1,000 people hit a landing page and opt in on your email list, again for free. It's a super powerful tool. It can be used for traffic, social proof, sales, and so much more. But something that I must point out is the real strength of your audience should be demonstrated off platform. And what I mean by that is, it's not enough to just build a huge Instagram page and get lots of engagement on your Instagram posts. You want to get them to do stuff off of the platform. You want to get them to visit your website. You want to get them to opt in for your email address, and you want to get them to buy your product. Because at the end of the day, you're on Instagram's platform. You're on their platform, and that means that your account can be shut down at any time. So you want to get those people who are fans of yours onto your own platform, onto your own email list, to be customers of yours, and to be on your website, be on your home base, on your turf where you're in control. So the most fundamental thing to this is to make sure that your audience does not go cold. Make sure that you carry on communicating with them, make sure you carry on posting content, and make sure that you provide calls to action. In other words, try and encourage your audience to do things, to click on your posts, to buy your product. Don't feel afraid to ask them to do things. You're providing content, and you should be able to ask for something in return. And this is really, again, how you develop a relationship. So to conclude, you build your Instagram account by following the 3 C's, which are content, consistency, and crowd. Make sure you're posting good content, you're doing it regularly and at the same times every day, and that you're engaging with your audience. You can use tactics such as great engagement groups and followliker for an initial lift on your account, but make sure you don't use these forever. And then thirdly, utilize your newfound audience. Don't just let your following of 1,000, 100,000, whatever go cold. Make sure you're consistently posting, asking them to take a look at your website, asking them to take a look at your product. That is really how you get the most out of your Instagram account. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something. There'll be many more to come in 2019. As always, if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to do a video on, just drop a comment down below or hit me up on Facebook Messenger. The link is in the description. If you have any questions or need anything troubleshooting for your Amazon business, I'd be more than happy to help. As many of you will know, I'm really active in the Facebook groups, helping people out just because I enjoy it. So I hope you kill it this year, guys, and stick around for many more videos. If you have anything that you want me to do a video on, like I said, leave a request below and I'll get round to it.